folks. Hi, people of Europe and beyond. It's the cast of Eurovision Ireland, and we're back with another review of the songs from the 2024 Eurovision Song Contest. I'll introduce the team first in a random order. So we've got Rich,
Hiya.
we've got Bogdan,
Hi everyone.
we've got James,
Hey everyone.
we've got Sarah,
Hi everyone.
and we've got me and Staggy, who's becoming an even bigger star of Instagram and TikTok, I understand. So feel free to check out those channels in the Eurovision Ireland brand. Now, this pick of songs are mainly for Eastern Europe and the Caucasus, almost without exception, really. You'll pick up which 6 songs they are as we go along. We're going to dive straight in with Armenia. Experts at JESC, can they be experts at ESC? They've sent a song this year called Jaco, and it's by La Deniva, which they've written. So it's written by Jacqueline and Louis from La Deniva and Audrey Leclerc. They're based in northern France, so that would probably explain the slightly French influence. They're performing in the second semi-final at song number 8. Now, I'm taking charge with this one. And I actually love this one. This is my favourite of the 37 this year. I don't mind saying that. I love it. It grabs me from start to finish. It's bouncy. It's got a good melody. There's a bit of a message in there, even though it says Armenian. The English lyrics, you can check them out, and it's all about her trying to make a better self. Yeah, her better self. She does the singing really well. We've got the guy who's the multi-instrumentalist. I'm sure he'll be making the most of his talents when he's on the stage in Malmo when they go there. It's just a really happy, upbeat, joyous song, and I just really love it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'd love to go back. Love to go back to Yerevan as well. Please make it so. I've got to give it a score as well. So just to remind you, we're each going to score the songs out of 10. So there's a maximum available of 50 and a minimum available of 0, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So with that slightly glowing reference, it's probably no surprise that I'm going to give Armenia 10 this year. Now, Rich, what's your score for
I
Armenia?
like it. I want to give it more, but I think until I see a live performance, I'm only giving it a 7.
Okay. And Bogdan?
I want to see live performance as well, but I think I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised. So for now it's an 8, but with the pleasure of going up.
You, Bogdan. And Sarah?
I'm going to give it a 7. Likewise, I'm waiting for the live performance as well.
Okay. And finally, James.
This one just grabs you, and it's again brilliant alphabets are traditional. I'm going to give it a 7, but a rising 7.
Okay. 39 out of 50. That's not actually that bad. That's not that bad. All right. Where are we going to move on to now? I'm going to pick just to keep James guessing here. I'm going to pick Latvia.
Phew, that was the right one.
Now, this song is called Hollow, and it's performed by Dons, who's co-written it with Kate Northrup and Liam Geddes. Some names that are nicely easy to pronounce for me, anyway. It's in the second semi-final, and it's at position number 9. And Sarah, it's over to you.
Right. Well, I've been following this on social media and seeing what some of the reaction has been to this since I saw the live performance on the national final. And a lot of people sort of seem to be of the view that this is a very underrated song. And I have to say, I agree with them because I think he's got a fantastic voice. And there's no sort of doubting at all about that. There is the absolute emotion there. He really makes you feel the song and the emotion that's going into it. And I think that the performance, some people have described it as being a bit melancholic. That may be so, but then that's the nature of the song, what the song's about. But I think it's a type of performance that suits the song. Just him on the stage, little spotlights. I think it's going to do better than people think because when you think about it, you've got all the bonkers entries. alongside the up-tempo numbers. And this is just one of these sort of nice little ballads that could stand out. And I certainly think, I think the juries will like it. Whether I think televote it's going to be 50-50, but I think it's going to get through to the final. I really do.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Of course, you've got to give it a score as well.
I'll give it an 8.
8. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll do these in a different order this time. So, Bogdan, what's your score for Latvia?
This song is flying under my radar because it's not a song I go back to. So for now, it's just a 7. Waiting for the live performance.
Okay. And James?
I think by the fact that you saw me nodding along like one of those dogs constantly in the video, and the fact I applauded when Sarah finished 10, I think this is incredibly underrated, and I think this is going to do a lot better than people think it will.
Okay, thank you. And Richard?
I'm obviously missing something here because at the moment I'm only giving it a 5, but hopefully once I've seen a rehearsal, my expectations might change.
Okay, well, that's a nice openly minded way of looking at things. I love it as well. It's going to grab you, and you're not going to realise it. So it's an 8 from me. It's an 8. So that scores 38. It's close. It's a close one. Close one. This one. Right. Next, we're going to go to. What flag have you got there?
I've got this one.
Okay, that'll do. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go to Lithuania next, and it's called Luktelk, and it's by Sylvester Belt. And he's one of the co-writers of the song. I'm sorry, Lithuanian isn't really my something I'm very good at. So rather than defending the Lithuanian songwriters, I'll just say that Sylvester Belt has 2 co-writers with him. Because we do have to remember that this is not just a singers contest, it's a songwriters contest as well, and they never ever get the credit they deserve. So Bogdan's going to take on this one. Up you go.
Thank you. Well, Sylvester Best is a very confident performer. You can see that he knows how to grab the attention. He knows what he's doing on the stage. He's not an amateur, and I quite like the song. It's a beat. It's easy to sing along. It has all the ingredients to do well. And even though it's an upbeat song, actually, the message of the song it's one of longing for connection and longing for someone. So it's quite interesting that an upbeat song could be actually a song that it's quite sad in a way. I think it's gonna do quite well, and it's gonna give Lithuania a really good result. That's how I'm seeing it right now.
Thanks, Bogdan. You've got to give it a mark out of 10. So what are you giving it?
I'm quite enjoying it, so I'm gonna give it an 8 with a high 8 towards 9, but 8.
An 8. An 8. Okay, fair enough. And I'll go to Sarah next.
9. I absolutely love it. It's just one of these foot tapping songs that you just bop along to.
Yeah, there's definitely an earworm quality to it. I'm gonna go next. It's a 6 from me, but I think for reasons already explained, I'm willing to be persuaded that it can get more. But it's a 6 at the moment. Richard?
7 for me, with hope of it growing.
Okay. And James?
I'm going to give it an 8. It was a definite sort of the moment I saw him perform at the Lithuanian final. I was like, yep, he's got it.
What do you know? It also scores 38 out of a possible 50. It's a close one, this one. Right, moving on. We're going to take Azerbaijan next. Yeah. Now, this is called, Uzunlu Apar. And it's being sung by Fakhri and Ilkin. Fakhri takes the lead vocals, and Ilkin he makes his presence felt. Now, this has been performed in the first semi-final, song 12, so it's got a fairly decent late draw. And to lead on this one, I believe it is James.
Right, so as we know, Azerbaijan didn't make it to the final last year, and there are certain countries when they don't qualify for the final, they come back fighting, and they right, I'm not taking that lying down. And I think Azerbaijan are definitely one of those. In the rare event they do miss the final, they always come back swinging next year. The first thing I absolutely love about this, for the first time ever, Azerbaijan are singing in their native language, which is incredible. We're very happy to have that. Weird little Eurovision statistic for you. Bulgaria was the first country to sing in Azeri at Eurovision. Just there you go. So I'm very happy we're finally getting Azeri from Azerbaijan. I quite like this. There's a quite a dark, melancholy feel to it. It's got a very Eastern sounds to it. Azeri or Azerbaijani, it's a Turkic language, so it's got a very Turkic sound there. So I feel like all the people that have been missing Turkish Eurovision entries over the years, this will sort of be oh, this is a sound we've been missing. So I think that's going to tap into a lot of people's subconscious. Qualifying for the final, yep, don't see that as a problem. I think Azerbaijan will be back in the final. I don't see it as the kind of song that's going to win the contest outright, but I think it's going to get them back to the final, and it will definitely place. I'm sort of seeing higher mid-table finish for it. I think it's the kind of thing people will get behind and say, oh yeah, I like that one. It's got a very mystical sound to it, very Eastern, as I said, that sort of Turkic nostalgia in there. So yeah, I think this is a thumbs up for me.
Okay, thank you, James. Nice, plenty of positivity, and you've got to give it a score now.
I'm going to give it an 8.
8. Okay. Richard, over to you next.
I'm missing something again because I'm only giving it a 5. So let's hope the rehearsals will change it.
You and I are going to have words, Richard.
Okay.
It's actually getting an 8 from me as well. A bit of ethnic vibes going on there. Sarah, what's your score?
I'm going to give it a 6. I'm not quite sure about it yet. I'm going to wait to see the actual live performance.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Bogdan?
I'm going to give it an 8 as well. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised when we're going to hear it live.
Okay. Okay, so that's a score of 35. They're all pretty well bunched together this time. Right, it must be Richard's turn. Richard, you got Georgia. You're going to be leading on Georgia. And I'll just explain. It's called Firefighter, not just any old fighter, hey, Luxembourg. This is Firefighter. And it's been sung by Nutsa Butsaladze. Excuse me again if I got that wrong. And it's written by Darko Dimitrov, who's done his stuff at Eurovision before, and Ada Skitlan, I believe. Yeah. It's been performed in the second semi-final, position number 11. So again, not a bad draw. And it's over to Richard.
Nutsa, what can I say? She's definitely, from what I've seen from the official video, a fierce performer. It's as if she studied all those American pop stars like Beyonce and whoever, because she comes across like that, fierce, and the storytelling, she can sing it, and you can just see it in her handography and that sort of thing. Georgia haven't qualified for several years now, but I can envisage her being on stage surrounded by dancers, synchronicity happening. I think she will do well, and I think she'll have that camera focus. I think she'll have the audience focus, and I think for once Georgia might be onto something in terms of qualification. When it gets to the final, what will happen, who knows, but I think qualifying for the final would be a win this year for Georgia.
Fair enough. Getting to a final is an achievement for any country these days. Yeah. You've got to give it a score.
A safe 7.
Safe 7. Okay, I'll go next. And I too am going to give it a nice safe 7. Sarah, what's your score for Georgia?
Same for me, a safe 7. Again, it's one of those, I think it's largely going to depend on how the live performance is. Yeah.
Thank you. And Bogdan?
For me, it's a grow. I give it a 9.
9. Okay. And James?
I'm going to be slightly different and give it a 6. I like what they're doing. It's not my favourite this year, but I feel like it's Georgia sort of finally said, oh, Eurovision will send a song that Europe enjoys. So 6 from me.
So that, would you believe, scores 36.
Very tight today.
Yeah, you'll see all the scores written somewhere on the screen. The editor's yet to decide where he's going to put the scores. So the final one in this broadcast is Ukraine. Country you can never write off. Their song this year is called Teresa and Maria, and it's performed by Alyona and Jerry Heil. An interesting duet. that they've written with Anton Chalibi and Ivan Klimenko. It's been performed in the first semi-final at position number 5, and it's over to me. Now, you can never, ever, ever write off Ukraine. Stuff going off in Europe aside, never write them off. They're in the same category as Sweden and Italy. You can never, ever write them off. They get this contest. This, I'm pretty sure, will sail through to the final. I'll explain why in a second. And it will be easily top 10 in the final. So that's nothing to do with any situations in Europe at the moment. It's one that grabs you. The lyric is poignant. It's, I wouldn't go so far as saying heart-wrenching, but it is one that will chime a lot all over Europe. Bearing in mind there is a massive Ukrainian diaspora living in Europe at the moment for one reason or another. It fits in well with female rapping, which is a bit of a rarity and therefore a novelty, and therefore it will catch people's attention. You've got the soaring vocals from Jerry and Aliona with her rapping, and it just gels. It really fits. You don't expect a song like this just to meld like it does, and it does, and it draws you in. It's 3 minutes of like, yeah, you're just gonna stare at the screen and watch this, how it unfolds, because it is just a very unlikely duo that actually really works. I love it. It's we've already had Armenia, which is my favorite of the 37. This one's my second favorite of the 37, which is why I insisted on reviewing it. I love it for all the reasons I've given, and for me, it's worth a 10, without a doubt. Richard, we'll go to you next. What's your score for Ukraine?
I'm giving it a 7, and Ukraine are the only country to have qualified from a semi-final at every opportunity. So, yeah, it's a safe 7.
Thank you. Nice safe 7. James?
10. I think it's sublime.
10. Thank you. Bogdan?
I give it an 8.
8. Okay. And finally, Sarah?
I'm going to give it a 7.
7. So that scores 42 out of a possible 50. It's been, as you'll see the scores, it's been a very close recording tonight. We're going to put all these scores with all the other scores from all the other shows that feature all the other songs, and we'll see if we can pick a winner. But I'll quickly go around the room and see, is there a potential winner of this bunch of 6 songs, and is there going to be maybe a classic that we'll still be listening to in years to come? I'm going to start with Sarah.
Probably potential winner, or if not top 5. Possibly a couple of classics. Yeah, but other than that, just what I can't see. There's that the winner's going to come from here apart from one.
Okay, thank you. And Richard?
I think there's a couple of classics, but I can't see any winners. Potentially, maybe one top 5, but that's pushing it, maybe.
Thank you. And Bogdan?
Classics, definitely. And from my point of view, a top 5 and one top 3.
Wow. Nice. And finally, James?
A potential winner, definitely, easily a couple of classics. And I think even the other 5 that I don't think are going to win, I think they're easily going to give each country their best placing at Eurovision for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, I have to agree that if I had my way, there'd be 2 winners. There'd be 2 winners out of this. But I've got a lot of time for the other 4. This is a cracking half dozen songs, if you ask me. It might be the best half dozen that we review in these shows. Yeah, so thanks to all countries concerned, you've done good this year. We're going to sign off now, but we'll quickly say goodbye. So goodbye from Richard.
Bye.
And James.
Bye, everyone.
And Bogdan.
Bye, everyone.
And Sarah.
Bye, everyone.
And me and Staggy. Bye.